Great, amazing morning to you. Rise and shine up and at 'em. Don't you like, we're just so amazing over here at WHPS TV 33. I am live to you this morning from the Virgin Islands studio. There we go. Help me out. I'm in the Virgin Islands studio. Don't you see everything in the back? I mean, it looks like we were just coming from Cuba, Havana. And so we are here in the studio about to have our coffee and conversation with Collette on this morning. How are you? Are you good? We're alive. The energy's going. I mean, you can't but love the backdrop. Like you see the sun, that should make you feel good because you're the sun, right? The inside, this who you are, the spirit man is filled with joy on this new day because it is a day filled with infinite possibilities. And as I always talk with us and I say, I know that you could be anywhere doing anything, which you make the conscious decision to tune in to WHPS TV 33. And whether it is Roku or streaming live or Fire Stick or however our app, however you got here, you are here because you want to have a conversation that matters. And today we're going to do a little bit of a different thing. And I normally don't do this, and you all know that I don't because I'm very focused. I take your time seriously. I take our conversations seriously. And so I always pray to have a topic and points of engagement that are really serious, right? But today we're going to have a little shenanigans, okay? This week in the news, it's been a lot of shenanigans. Now, the lessons out of the buffoonery and the shenanigans are really real life lessons and things that we're going to learn that make us better. They have to make us better. But how we get here, it's some shenanigans, everybody. So I'm going to throw some subjects out there. And it's our Freestyle Friday. We have 2 hours. So a little bit of the conversation, we're going to engage in some politics. I want us to talk about what's happening in the Chicago mayoral run. I think the first time in history. And I think that when this is pulled off, this right here is going to set the tone for what can happen for us in the nation. So I want us to talk about Chicago. Of course, I want to talk about Michael Cohen. I want to know if you just think he's a rat. Do you think he's a rat? Like Donald Trump said, he's a rat. So I want us to talk about if that's important to you, what that looks like. Got some conversation around him. Of course, I want to talk about Jussie Smollett. We're going to talk about him because I think it's a bigger conversation. I really wanted him to do things differently, if indeed how I understand the conversation and his intent was what it was. So I want us to talk about that. I want us to talk about the ISIS brides. I really want to know really what's good. I want to know what you think about the scenario. If you understand that these young ladies, specifically the one from the United States, there was one, I believe, from Britain as well, London, England, and made the decision that they wanted to support ISIS and move over to the region so that they could support as a wife of a ISIS fighter. And the one young lady from this region, she's not from Detroit, from the Michigan region, she has been widowed 3 times. She does have a son, and now it's enough, and she wants to come home. And, of course, Trump is saying no, 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 no. And the other young lady from London, they're saying no, no, no. And I want to know if you would say no, 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 okay? And then, of course, I got to throw us in there. Human sexual trafficking is real, okay? Craft. And now all the other guys that are getting caught up in the Florida prostitution sting. I want to know what you think about that. Was it just par for course? Is that just what happens at the parlors? Is it just understood that is the modus operandi? And what do you think about it? The big timers got caught. And I know Kraft. I mean, he has a very phenomenal story. His wife of 40 plus years passed away, I believe, in 2011. And he does have a girlfriend. I believe she's like of 39 years of age, probably 40 right about now. And he's, 77? Okay, I'm not getting caught up into age, but you all say, Collette, you're getting caught up into age. I'm getting caught up in age, okay. But that didn't make a difference because he went on to get a happy ending at the massage parlor. And I want to know what you think about that. And I want to know if you think he's going to get in trouble for it and what the NFL is going to do about it. So those are just some topics that I had. But of course, it's whatever you want to talk about as well. I have some housekeeping items. Tonight at the Dabo Sheffield Center, it is our first Friday movie night. We're going to be featuring Keep the Faith Baby. That's the Adam Clayton Powell Jr. story, his background, how he was able to mobilize the community and ascend into Congress and what that looks like. And phenomenal story. 6 p.m., full dinner. Need you to be there. Also tomorrow, a couple things are happening on Saturday. It is our 40th anniversary of the Dabo Sheffield Center, celebrating 40 years of service. And so we're doing that by having a free opioid awareness panel discussion. It's going to begin at 11 a.m. at the Northwest Activity Center. You all know where that is, 18100 Meyer Road, Detroit, Michigan. Continental breakfast, 11 a.m. And we're going to talk about the opioid epidemic. There's going to be a screening, a couple episodes of the Showtime segment Trade. We're going to talk about that. And then it's going to lead into opioids. Now, you all know, and we all know, that opioid abuse, if you will, has been rampant in communities of color. Hasn't gotten on the radar of a national perspective now until it's had this immediate impact with the other community. And so now monies are identified to be able to do prevention work and to do recovery work and assistance work. And so we're just here to do the work. And so however we're meeting you, whether it's information for prevention, if you are in the midst of crisis, if you're in recovery, we want to have the real conversations with us because it's our community that matters. And so I believe, and I believe it's a direct correlation to our conversation yesterday with Cuba Libre, that at the end of the day, if you meet the needs of the people, then it lessens the other pressures that could cause and be a preimpetus to addictions. That's just me. I want to know if you agree with that. Because at the end of the day, I believe that if majority of us didn't have the pressures of a mortgage, the pressures of education, whether us trying to obtain higher levels of education, how to get our children through school, a system that has its challenges, but we believe that if you follow this educational path of higher education, that they can have better employment opportunities. But if that pressure, and then food, how to be able to take care of yourself, and then this health care component, specifically with our seniors, I mean, who can afford to pay $600 and $700 and $800 a month for health insurance? So if indeed we moved all of those pressures off the table, what would our lives look like? We wouldn't have the stresses that we have just to keep roofs over our head, food in our mouth, opportunities in abundance, because we are in America. And so I believe that if we did have a government that realistically addressed those issues without the dynamic of corporate business making more money, capitalism, and I understand how America was developed, I understand who America is, but if it's really about democracy, if it's really from meeting the change that we want to see, and that starts right here, those humanitarian efforts start right here. We don't need to go every place else to be able to help and lend our umbrella and yield and then lend our helping hand, as we call it. But charity begins at home. If we really want to have that impact right here, we would do it. And I believe it would take away those crises. It would take away the triggers. It would take away those things that cause a lot of us to say, you know what, I just need an escape for a minute. Whether it's alcohol, whether it's pills, and a lot of people, cannabis, whatever it is, we need to be able to address it. Because if indeed we don't address it, how we need to address it, not someone else telling us why it is and what we have to do, but to have those conversations that a lot of us won't have in our churches. We won't have in our mosque. We just won't have with our family and friends in private quarters in our homes. We won't have at the Sunday dinner table. We won't have while we're out kicking it on the weekends with our friends. We won't have those conversations. And so we're going to provide a space for you where you can have that conversation and or just get the information from the experts. I know Darlene Owens from Detroit Wayne Mental Health Authority, she's going to be on the panel. I know Andre Johnson from Detroit Recovery is on the panel. A couple of amazing other individuals. I want to pull up that flyer as well so I can be exact. Here we go. Andre Johnson, Detroit Recovery Project, Cheryl Phillips, St. Joseph Mercy Health Exploration Station. Of course, I mentioned Darlene Owens, Detroit Wayne Mental Health, and Carl King from Detroit Wayne, everyone. And then there's an opportunity for all of you. If you are a nonprofit or a for-profit, there's a $1,000 grant. If you could do a 30-second clip that just says what you would do to address the opioid epidemic. And you know what? I'm going to say if you go to call us. 313-491-0003. If you want more information about the panel, about the opportunity to create a video for opioid awareness, 30-second video to post on Instagram, and you can win the money. This is what we want you to do. We want that to happen so that we can be able to select you at the conference, a workshop panel on Saturday, tomorrow, and you'll be able to win some money. And that'll go for your efforts. So we're here. I know we got a caller. I believe the caller's still on the line. We're going to have our conversation. So I'm ready if you are. Great morning to you.
How you doing today?
Oh, amazing. Emma, how are you?
All right. First, I got to give a shout out to TP33.
Please.
Comcast 91.
Yes.
The WHPS.
Yes.
And also WHPR 88.1 FM. And WVIE.
That's right. Get us all in. Get us all in, Emma.
From your trip.
What'd you say?
There's a little echo. I don't know if you hear echo.
I don't.
Echo that I hear.
Okay, we're going to work on that.
I don't know if it's on the TV, because I had to turn the TV down.
Okay.
But besides that, this last week, from national news, has been something else.
It
I
has.
just said something else.
It has.
And one of the main things that I don't hear nobody talking about is that today there was a person who was telling on his boss was the day his boss just so happened was on vacation.
Okay.
And as soon as this employee got finished telling on his boss,
Okay.
all of a sudden his boss just showed back.
Oh.
But nobody's talking about it.
Well, no, because I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think that people really care a mile about people telling on bosses, especially if it's the boss. Now, if you're going to tell on your colleagues, sure, people don't have a problem with that. But what is going to be the recourse when you tell on your boss? I mean, let's put it and compare it to Michael Cohen. It's like honor among thieves, right? So if you're together and you and Trump are kicking it and you know who he is and you know what you're doing to assist in the bigger picture and you're getting compensated for your work and your job and you're held accountable to what he's asking you to do and you're being compensated for it, when the rubber hits the road, I thought that there was some honor among that. I thought you were supposed to just take the hit. Whatever it looks like, he didn't do anything, I did it all, okay. But now you want to tell. So you want to tell, and what did he say? He has been quoted that he says Trump is a racist, he's a con man, he's a thief. But you didn't know all of that before when you started working with him? So, I mean, we know who we're dealing with. People know who you're getting in bed with, but now when it makes you look bad and there are pressures on your children and there's pressures on your family because you don't want to be disgraced in America and you sure don't want to be a prominent white man of privilege in America who's now been disgraced amongst everybody and your peers. And so now you want to put the blame on someone else and you want to tell. Well, what do you think about it? I mean, you know street code. Do you think he was a rat?
Well, I'll say this.
Okay.
See, one of the things by part of the federal government putting him on national TV
Okay.
to let him run his mouth in the manner and fashion that he did, somewhere our government has some physical proof to validate what he said.
Sure.
Okay? So from that perspective, there is things that he said that breaks law. So
Well, stay there for a minute. Stay there for a minute, Emma. Breaks law for who? Breaks law for Trump, you mean?
Meaning they openly let him say or put things out in the air.
Sure.
But our federal government already have physical evidence to validate what he says. So
Okay.
it looks like he's just talking. They wouldn't let him just talk and give him a break on sentence unless they have physical proof to validate some of the negative things he said about our president. That's all.
You think so? I don't really think that they care.
I really don't think to the degree that they charged over 20-something people, I don't let them think a convicted fella will go on the public and say things where they don't have physical evidence to validate some of the things he says.
Or stay there.
Like he was just talking about his personal experience.
Okay.
Okay. I don't believe that.
Well, stay there for a minute, or stay there for a minute. Stay there on your point. Stay there on your point. Or maybe they just thought that, you know what, because we've already branded him as a liar, and that he's already been dishonest to the body, that no matter what he says now, it's just trying to save himself. And even if what you're saying is true and that there is evidence for it, that the people won't believe him because we've already branded him as a liar. So that's the whole thing. Like, you can't trust him. He lied in front of you before. So now he's just going to sit and come up with all kinds of other additional components, exacerbate the situation, because now he's in the hot seat and he wants things to look a certain way. So I believe the government believes that people aren't going to be that smart and say, you know what, he's just talking because he's mad. He's hurt and he's mad and he's trying to save himself, and that's what they're trying to do. That's just me, because I don't think that the government thinks we're that smart.
Well, I believe the comment was he never said anything about our president's son. So I believe at some point in time, somebody that's either living in the White House, working in the White House, or calling shots in the White House is going to get charged. That's just my thing.
Really? You know what? Let's put it out there. I'd love to know out of the callers who really believes that, and what could we wage? Like, because I would love. Do you all actually think that Trump is going to get impeached? I would love to know that. I would love with everything. Well, let me add something else. If you actually think he's going to get impeached, and then if he does not, he's just going to ride this wave out, not run again, and just move off into the sunset. What do you think?
Nope. Because, well, the thing is that we've had a president that was impeached and stayed in office. What I believe is, when it comes down to the charges that they have, meaning this is one country, there's another country.
Sure.
Anytime you do business in this country with another country, all business transactions need to be reported.
Okay.
Yesterday, Monday, on TV, I heard somebody say that somebody from this country was doing business with somebody in another country, and the people in this country did not know about it.
Sure.
That's a charge, meaning I believe a charge is more important than impeach.
Well, stay there for a minute. Stay there. But what type of charge? So you're suggesting that if he, as an independent business entity, conducted business, then he should have disclosed that? Or as a sitting president, he used his influence to create a financial gain and opportunity for his familial business, he should have disclosed that? Like, what type of charge? But I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. Okay. He's had a history of doing this.
The point I'm saying is that when he created business with another entity outside this country, the other country knew what they were doing to influence him. So in order to maintain this association, the other country got somebody in his party to do something to maintain the flow. That's where the law was broke. See, if anybody over here do anything for another country to benefit over here without the acknowledgement of the federal government, that's the smell of treason. And there's somebody in this government, no matter who it is, will charge you and put you to jail, and they can't be stopped.
Well, stay there, though. The difference with this scenario is if you, for example, shared secrets that would then cause something for the detriment of the American people, that's what I believe then they would try to charge that. But if you shared information based on relationship that fostered a business transaction that was solely to benefit your private entity and industry, no, they're not going to say anything to him. He's been doing that. No. I don't think so. But you all could think that I'm wrong. You all could say that, yeah, they're going to impeach Trump. Let me tell you, all the other people who are in power are making too much money off of Trump. Did you all ever wonder why Nancy Pelosi didn't pull the plug to talk about we want to impeach him? I'm not going to pull the plug, because what I did was raise so much money that then she went and sprinkled money to support these candidates in the previous campaigns. And when her candidates won and were seated in Congress, they were beheld to her. And so when everyone was talking about making her step down, she's been effective, what's it going to look like, we need some new blood, she pulled in all the new people that she sprinkled money with because she bought their vote. And so they had to vote for her. And so now Nancy is still the speaker, and Nancy is killing them literally with getting monies in to sit and enhance her coffer, because I can raise more money to have a conversation to say I'm going to go against him versus actually removing him from office. They don't have a conversation if you remove him from office. I don't have anything that I can use to get you to support me if I remove Trump from office, because in the bane of our existence is removed. But if I can keep, that's just like us right here in Detroit and the surrounding area. We can sit and talk about, oh, yes, it's wrong, and the emergency management was wrong, and we should remove it, and education. But at the end of the day, we have those of us who've been using those conversations as our platform. They're just that, our platform. They're not trying to fix it. They just want to use it as a platform to have a conversation. You get it? That's like going to the doctor. You don't have an expectation that the doctor is going to fix you. The doctor is just going to help you manage whatever this ailment is, and then create more ailments by giving you more different medicines that have different side effects. So the dynamic is never to be fixed. It's to manage. How's that?
Wow. I understand exactly what you said.
Okay.
Because I remember there was a mayor here in the city of Detroit that came in under the basic concept of what you're saying, meaning he had no experience in running politics.
Okay.
He just had a business. It was a political machine that chose him, and everything that political team wanted, it was done.
Oh, wait, are you referencing Dave Bing? Are you referencing Mayor Dave Bing?
I understand exactly who you.
No, I'm asking you. Is that who you represent? Are you referencing Dave Bing? You mean you can put his name out there? Absolutely, businessman. But see, okay, let me just stay there for a minute. And maybe this is my Truth and Transparency Friday. I'm a freestyle with us right now. Why do we act like elected officials are not Pinocchios to the corporate Geppetto? They're bought. How do you think you have a seat in office? Because you've gone to all these entities and you said, this is what I'll do for you in exchange for your monetary support that then I can use to market and promote myself, so then the people can elect me and select me into office. If indeed that is how I'm talking about in principle, how it's supposed to work. And then when you get me in office, then you're going to come back with your hand out and say, this is what I need for you to do. So when I want to do this development right down here, I need you to create this tax abatement for me. And I need you to give me all these breaks. And I need you to slide away from certain permits. And I need you to, come on now. That's how this system works. Our problem is we act like we don't understand the system. We act like we don't understand that it wasn't built to support us. And then we're shocked when we don't get the support that we expect. Based on what? Based on the ideology of this democracy? Based on the ideology of who America has told us we should believe that she is? Because, I mean, if we really believed in who America is, we saw who America is when she took the land from the original folks here and put them on a reservation and then say, I'm going to make you a sovereign group on this reservation after you've all been killed off, died off from alcoholism. Now you can govern yourselves and make this little bit of money. And then the rest of us are beheld to the system of trying to be great and trying to be accepted and trying to be proven in this America that wasn't built for us, specifically as people of color, to feel accepted and to be great. And I'm just talking, keeping it real. I love America. I am an American citizen. That is who I am. But I'm not going to trick myself into thinking that I don't understand, because when you understand, when you handle the truth, when you know the truth and handle the truth, then you move differently.
Tool of success.
Tool of success.
It's not about me fooling you. It's not about you fooling me. It's about me not fooling myself.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Good one.
Right. I don't want to trick myself. Why am I trying to trick myself? And so that's what I'm asking us on today. But see, I know why we don't want to deal with the truth. Because if we actually deal with the truth, then we have to be accountable. As much as we can sit and talk about, and let me just say, hold on, let me finish this thought, then I want your input, and everyone else, and I know you all are thinking about it. As much as we can sit and talk about Detroit wasn't built for us, as much as the downtown wasn't built for us, as much as we can talk about, oh, they're taking over, as much as we can talk about, oh, now they're taking over on the boulevard, as much as we can talk about, oh, they're doing all the businesses, we had a chance to do that. We had a chance to buy up all the buildings downtown, and we didn't. We had a chance to understand governance enough so when the foreclosure crisis hit, we should have told and demanded elected officials to say, no, you're going to adjust these property taxes to reflect now the new value of these homes so we are not put up out of our homes. And when our elected officials didn't know that and didn't demand that, that's why we get the brunt of what all of this is, because we're not educated and we don't know. And we have people in office that don't know. So now you're just subject to anybody's whim. You're subjected to those who know. So if those who know then are oppressing you based on your ignorance, whose fault is that? That's not their fault, because they're going to win by any means necessary. It's our fault. But we have to have a level of accountability.
It's our fault.
It's our fault.
Because one of the things you're speaking about is things that I talked about a long time ago.
Okay.
I'm here. Okay. Everybody in this immediate community knows DJ 8 Miles a lucky is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
Everybody around here knows. Sure. From a positive perspective.
Okay.
But I'm here though. Now if they ain't seen me, then I wouldn't be able to talk about it.
Right.
So you're here. Okay. So you can talk about it. But the ones that was here but didn't care,
yeah.
As soon as they got the opportunity, they left. Not so much left because they couldn't provide, left by choice.
Sure.
That's why come there's Southfield.
Yes.
That's why come there's Oak Park. That's why come there's Clinton Township. That's why come there's Roseville. But the people that left this core of the city, they got their gang, their education, they got their family style, their whole environment, the terms that people like to use, culture.
Yeah.
It's almost abolished or against the law to be that way in these communities, that people that left this out, 8 Mile left Detroit. So you are a very good example, not just based on the look, but based on the heart, the strength, and the love of this community. See, that ain't supposed to go no, I don't like to use the word supposed. Right. That shouldn't go anywhere. And the only way it won't go anywhere is for people to be here, to be about it. There's a new tax base downtown Detroit.
Sure.
There's buses that's running that I didn't see running before. Okay?
Sure.
There's some things that are happening that's positive.
Well, let me just say this much. Stay there for 1 second. Stay there for 1 second. And I really want us to own this right here. And again, I know that we don't like it, but what if you just decided that I'm going to look at this for what it is and determine what I need to do? What if you just decided that? And when I say you, I don't mean you directly, Amal, but you, okay, you and everyone that's part of this conversation on this morning. What if you just decided that, you know what, instead of the glass being half empty, it's half full? Well, and whether instead of there, oh, I can't, oh, they're not, what about I will and I can? What about, guess what? The reason why I'm not in a better situation is because I haven't maximized the opportunities. You all can go to school for free. You can go to school for free. There are people, you can go right now to Wayne County Community College, amazing platform, amazing campuses across this region, and go to school. You can go to school, you can get a training, you can become an entrepreneur, you can have create a plan. You don't have to be mired in the situation that you're in. Like I shared with you, what Alex told me in Havana. We might be in turmoil, but we are tranquil. So at the end of the day, how are you creating tranquility? This is your life. You know that song, I'm living my best life. What's the operative word in there? My best life. So what are you doing to have your best life? Like at the end of the day, do you want to, when this life, this physical life for you is all said and done, do you want to, the only conversation is, I didn't do, they weren't right by me, it wasn't fair? I was sitting here waiting for them. Is that really who you are? That is the conversation. That's the best you can do.
Thank you, dear, for saying that. Thank you, dear, for saying that. Anybody that look at this show, besides the times when the show is rebroadcast, to take the day, March 1st, 2019, as a day. If they didn't feel love before, they can feel love now because they can love themselves. And that's it.
Well, that's where it begins.
You look for good, you find good.
Yeah.
You look for bad, you find bad.
Say it.
You
Say
just
it.
said that. So
Say
why
it.
arguing? Why look for negativity to discuss if you're not about positive results?
Because we don't want to do the work.
Seriously.
Because we don't want to do the work. Because so say there, Jesse Smollett, I'm going to throw him out there. And all due respect. And I don't believe that this has anything to do with the LGBTQ community. I believe that it has to do with a man who figured that he had a bigger value. I've heard that it's because he wanted more money for his episodes. He wanted to create a bigger platform. And sometimes people say that all press is good press. And so with that, then it is alleged still that he created this attack scenario and all the things that come with it to create a conversation about himself. If indeed,
don't be doing that.
And I'm saying, and if indeed he did do this, shame on you.
No, I'm just saying, don't be doing that.
I'm just saying.
My man used some Africans to do a white hate crime. That's a dumbass. I mean, I don't mean to say that, but that's all that is.
Well, I'm just saying. Now, remember, it's allegations. It's allegations. I have a clip. We're going to get to that a little later on with CNN having a interview with the police chief and how he, and of course, the police chief is black, right? Talking about how he unearthed and this whole thing unfolded, but to the point of trying to get information to have a bigger conversation. You have a bigger platform. I believe he was a great artist, talented, definitely as an actor as well. Just do the work to market yourself in other platforms. Work to get endorsements outside of you being on the air because you are a recognizable face. That's the business of entertainment. But instead, what do? I'm going to manipulate. If indeed this is true, this is just Collette talking. If indeed this is true, he used the racism energy that's around this nation right now, threw out some choice names, created some different images. I mean, what? When he went to the police station, he still had a noose around his neck? Come on. Anyone who's actually been threatened with a noose is not going to still have it around his neck. I'm just saying. But then maybe you all saw the images of, was it Burberry, and their fashion show, that they had a sweater and the tie on it was a noose. Did you see that? Ha!
Yeah.
So you saw that.
We might forget that sometimes some stores, because I saw that T-shirt in TJ Maxx. I saw that myself here in the Metropolitan Detroit area, all BS aside. You know, they make clothes that cater to what we call the hood or to, urban community. Now, what makes you think that some of these stores will not make clothes that cater to white privilege?
Well, stay there. Well, stay there. And sadly enough, when you're privileged, they don't believe that they're privileged. They don't look at that as being privileged, just like they don't look at their actions as being racist. They're just looking out for themselves. It's just an idea that they have, an ideology, because they've never had to be subjected to the things that people of color had to be subjected to. So if you are in a design house and everybody looks the same and there's no person of color in there, and so you're like, oh, well, yeah, remember, like blackface. So Gucci, I'm going to go ahead and what if we make this sweater and you can pull it up and the lip part would be just the black or red lips, just like they did in blaxploitation. And people are like, oh, yeah, that's cool because that's what America used to show in all the films. And so we're going to do a sweater like that. And okay, because if these are French-based companies and you have designers, and remember, well, what you all probably don't know, unless you're in that world, I used to be national PR and special events manager for Martell Cognac and Seagram's Gin. And so those are top 2-tier brands under the Pernod Ricard umbrella. And so we had agencies that did our creative work. Well, if you have an agency and everyone for that agency, if you're supposed to be multicultural, if everyone is Caucasian in your agencies, they don't have a perspective that's specific to the target market. So they're going to put up what they think is attractive. And so, of course, you're going to come up with all these shenanigans and buffoonery images and think, oh, yeah, this is good. Oh, yeah, this works. Oh, yeah, they should like
when
that.
I seen the Prada monkey,
Yeah. What's the problem?
I stepped out that mindset
Yeah.
a while ago.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't gonna sit up here and say that I won't sit up here and wear something, but when it comes down to the more money you spend as a presence in your life, based on comparison to others, that's status quo. People that look like me and you don't run status quo. We buy status quo.
Well, sadly enough, stay there.
Status quo.
Stay there, Amal. Stay there for a minute. We do run status quo. We run status quo all day when it comes to the culture and the trends and the dynamics. Like, for example, with this clothing piece, I have a problem that everyone was buying Gucci and everyone was buying Burberry, and that was hot. No one had a problem with it before this incident. And then when this incident happened, the conversation was, well, stop buying Gucci, stop wearing Gucci, and now support black designers. Well, you should have been supporting black designers. Remember back in the day with FUBU, for us, by us? Remember that? And not everybody was on that bandwagon because we want to be still so accepted by this quote unquote mainstream brand. At the end of the day, a Gucci sweater, $1,200, $2,000 for some sweater with a tiger on it and some embellishments. But we're so proud because it's Gucci. And at the end of the day, you don't own Gucci stock. You don't own LV stock, corporate stock. You don't own anything that's going to give you a return on your investment. It's called ROI. And so at the end of the day, you want to sit around and stop and finger pop, and you're not getting any kind of income from it, but you want everybody to say, oh, he was bad. That's like with the Cartier glasses. Stop it. We are it. We are the cultural explosion with brands and making everybody else money. Stop it. We know what we're doing.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, you can. Sure.
I wanted to talk about craft, and then after this, I really appreciate the time you give me.
No, I appreciate the time that you're giving because everybody else, I guess, is just thinking about it. They want to chime in or some different dynamics. I mean, you all can call in. This is Freestyle Friday. We got some calls on the line? Oh, we got calls. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was engulfed. Everyone, hold on. Okay, we're going to get your last point in and we can finish the calls. I'm sorry.
Okay. When it comes down to the people in the entertainment industry that wanted to not perform at halftime based on some point of acknowledgement of a football player that needs.
Okay.
Why did they have all these parties the owners?
Good point. Did you all get what he said? So Amel is saying that everyone wanted to make a stance for the actual performance at Super Bowl halftime and not perform because they were going to be in protest to Colin Kaepernick and not having his contract and the disrespect of the notion that we could have take the knee. But everyone then was in after parties with Kraft specifically. Like you saw, he was up there turning up with Cardi B and Meek Mill and everybody else. And they were like, hey, but it's the same hey who had an influence in the league overall and what the stance is like for taking the knee. And this is the same hey who now looks like he's going to be charged with some sexual misconduct from some prostitution out of a spa in Florida. So, Amal, I appreciate you. It's been great starting the day with you. Thank you so much. Make today amazing. All right. Talk to you. Okay, absolutely. I will announce that. And everyone, while we're preparing for the next call, I will meet his request and let everyone know it is the opioid awareness panel discussion tomorrow. That's Saturday, March 2nd. Happy March 1st to you. March 2nd being held at the Northwest Activity Center, 18100 Meyer Road, Detroit, 48235. It begins at 11 a.m. It's going to be a continental breakfast will be served. And actually, we're going to have a special segment on vaping as well. But panelists include Andre Johnson, Detroit Recovery Project, Cheryl Phillips, St. Joseph Mercy Health Exploration Station, Darlene Owens, Detroit Wayne Mental Health Authority, Carl King, Detroit Wayne. It's going to be moderated by Biba Adams. And everyone, I mean, you got to come out. It's free. You have a chance to have an opportunity, get some good information so that we can come back and be the stewards that we need to be in our communities. So that is the announcement. Govern yourselves like they tell you in church. Govern yourselves accordingly. I'm ready for the next call. Thanks for your patience. Good morning to you. Caller, you there?
Good morning, Collette.
Oh, good morning, Deputy Chief. How are you?
I'm great. Look, I'd like to make the announcement if you don't mind.
No, not at all. This is Freestyle Friday, so have at it.
It's Detroit United LLC second call to action, which will be held March 9, 2019. Historic King Solomon Baptist Church, 61 14th Street at Ferry Park, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're laying the foundation to build legacy and wealth. We ask that you come out and engage in advocacy and demand for a better quality of life in Detroit. Questions may be directed to Lori Park at 313-492-6774. Kenny Campbell and Holloway at 313-778-0979. Myself, Reginald, at 313-399-8290.
Okay.
Our problem in Detroit is a leadership problem. The leadership problem is our elected officials, if you will. And in order for us to make any positive movement for the entire city,
Okay.
we need new leadership, period.
So stay there for a minute, Deputy Chief.
Yep.
Stay there. And you mean leadership from all angles, from mayoral, city council, specifically give us your assessment.
Yeah, elected leadership, the mayor, the council, the city clerk.
Okay.
We need input and participation from as many city Detroit retirees as possible. Okay, we need young people, 17 to 21 years old. Moving forward, we're going to need both these entities to be successful. And what I don't understand, what we don't understand, is the retirees. You know, you mentioned it earlier about high cost medical insurance, $700, $800 a month.
Yes.
Try $1,300, $1,700 a month. Okay, and you know, Detroit, we're supposed to have surplus, right?
I've heard.
I know you heard about that.
I've
right?
heard. I've heard that.
Okay, we got a new governor. No one is saying let's look into the possibility of getting the return of the annuity for the retirees. This was their money in terms of their annuity.
Right.
The annuity was their money, not one time was the city's money. And Kevin Orr came in and said, you made too much money, too much interest on your annuity, so you got to pay it back. Do you know we have former city of Detroit workers paying back $130,000?
No, I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. And this is why I say that the leadership of the retirees need to really get his people engaged so that we can fight and have something to fight with. Again, as I said last month, we're going after a better quality of life in Detroit. We're laying a foundation and a financial base, support base for our future.
Okay.
Which is what? Our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren.
All right.
You know, this is, our community. We're the only race of people, and I've been all over this world, made it back, okay? I don't understand how our community is the only community that will sit here and allow negativity for a negative impact for our children and grandchildren.
Okay.
You know, this is insane. I mean, just look at, for example, we're still paying taxes for legislation that was passed during Granholm's era. Okay? 30 years from now, most of us will be dead and gone, and legislation that's being passed today is going to have a negative impact on our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren.
Of course.
No other race of people allowed it.
You know, and let me just say, and I'm gonna I'm going to give you my feedback, right? And this is not a direct hit at you and what you are suggesting, and I commend you all. I'm just talking. At the end of the day, did we ever consider that it's not about leadership, it's about lobbying? I would love for you all to just have create a lobbying entity. The reason why the leadership doesn't do what they tell the people they're going to do and what the people need is because they're not paid to do that. The interests are not for the people. The interests are for the people who cut the checks. And so we sit by and allow these things to happen because we don't control government. We fall under the fallacy that government is controlled by this democracy and this vote, and that's what it is. No, it's not. Government is controlled by business interest and money. Why haven't any of us, I mean, I even talked to the elected officials, black folks who've been term limited, don't know where else to go, but know the people, say that they understand the lay of the land. Why didn't you create a lobbying firm to be able to use your understanding and your influence to have the real conversations? Because people who get checks from the front end, they're not going to sit and lean to what is going to be best for the people if indeed we're in a situation where they're getting a check from somebody else. They're going to keep, just like in auto insurance. I mean, I'm 47. And from the time I was conscious, for 5 years, and I was 5, so 42 years we've been talking about, where everybody's going to change auto insurance. Oh, you elect me, I'm going to change auto insurance. Oh, I'm going to fight auto insurance. It never has happened. It has not happened. It's not going to happen because we don't understand and control how people who handle legislation are influenced. They're influenced from a check. I would love to see you all take all of your energy and your expertise and everyone who's run for office before, who says that they really want to make a difference for the citizens of this region, that really realize that you make a bigger impact outside of sitting in a seat. When you sit in a seat, all you do is sit in a seat, collect a check, and hire your friends to collect a check. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but the collecting of the check, it means that you're bought. You're not there for the will of the people. You say you are, but you're bought at whoever's cutting the check. Is anybody going with me? And I'm not trying to take away from everything that you're doing, and I get it, and we need it. But I'm like, at what point do we say, okay, if we really understand what this is, and we really, because please, how does the Koch brothers, how do they get legislation to help all of their business entities?
Money.
Bingo. So what did they do? They drafted the legislation and they cut the checks. And so they pushed it to every municipality of state government across this country with their lobbying efforts and said, hey, here you go. This is the policy that we want you to push, and here's a check for you. And what do? They're beheld to the policy because they took the check.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Lobbying been around forever. It's just that most of us don't understand the process.
Right.
And so, Detroit's 33 years behind, okay? What we're trying to do, and will be successful, it's been done, it was done in 1986 by who? People that look like you and I, community block club leaders in Erie, New York, okay? There was, they had similar problems to what we have in Detroit, our neighborhood, lack of jobs, lack of skilled job training, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so what they did, they got together, they identified, and through a matrix, prioritized the issues. They identified 29 candidates for elected office, because there was 29 seats, vetted them, put their finance resources together, support those 29 candidates. Out of 29 elected positions, they won 16. That's a fact.
There you go.
Okay.
I mean, so it's planned. So guess what? So what they do, and I'm up against a break, everyone. So I don't want you to go anywhere. Deputy Chief, if you want to continue the conversation, you can hold on.
Okay.
Not a problem. But do you realize the example that he just gave? So you can accomplish, what they say, you can kill a bird with 2 stones. There's one way to skin a cat. I mean, chase a dog. I mean, what? At the end of the day, either I get a group of people and mobilize, and then I put the money behind them so that I control them. I'm their Geppetto when they get into office. And or if they're in office and I didn't put them there, then I can cut them a check and make sure they do what I say. I'm just saying, let's just think about it. You all don't go anywhere. We're at top of the hour. There's going to be more conversation with Collette. More importantly, what you think. We come right back.